Hi everyone, I'm back. So I've had some really great feedback and comments on my last two videos. So I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for so much support. It's really meant the world to me, taking on any type of new adventure, no matter what you're doing, having the support of friends and family and people that you don't even really know that well, encouraging you makes such a massive difference in how you feel going forward. So I just want to start off by saying thank you so much. I am going to try and keep this really quick, so let's get straight into it. I am going to be using a beauty blender as well as my brushes today, and I'll be starting off like I did yesterday with the Arbonne makeup primer. Again, just going to pop that on with my hands. The primer is really good. You probably only need a pea size to do the whole face. So when you're looking at using products, you definitely want to know that you're using less than more and you're still getting a great coverage. Now I'm going to be using the Perfecting Liquid Foundation today by Arbonne, and I'll be using neutral beige. I'm going to buff it on with my brush and then I'm going to tap it in with a damp beauty blender. So you can see that the foundation gave a really lovely coverage. I've got a scratch here again, courtesy of my 10-month-old, James, lovely, that it's just covered. Like I haven't had to go over with concealer or anything like that. And I've had a little, I think that was another scratch from James. He's at that age where he likes bringing out the playful hands and scratching your face. So now that I've gone and I've done that with my brush, I am, like I said, just going to tap it in ever so lightly with my damp beauty blender. Now I am going to go in with the concealer that I used yesterday. I'm just going to pop that on my fingers and then work that through with my beauty blender. So that's about how much product I have of the concealer. You always want to be grabbing under your eyes, and then you also want to be grabbing those high spots. So your forehead, your the top part of your lip, and then your chin. So there's the concealer. So what I have done if I'm doing like a really full glam, got a function or an event on, I will usually go in with my dark concealer as well. I find this to be a really good tip. It does give that really nice finish. So I've just got only a pea size, and that even will probably be the perfect amount. So I've just just adding that step is something that gives the face a lot more dimension. And I really, I was always really skeptical when I first saw this, because I'm like, oh my gosh, that just feels like so many extra steps. It just felt like it helped, like for those big occasions and the functions and events, like I was saying, it just gives that extra holding power for your bronzer and for dancing the night away, essentially, which is what I hope everyone would do at a beautiful big event that you're getting so dressed up for. So what I will do is I'm going to use the same palette I used yesterday, which is the Volume 1, It's All in the Eyes, and I'm just going to do something like a natural smoky eye. So I concealed my eyes earlier, so before I pop on my eyeshadow, I am just going to pop some powder on top of my eyeshadow just so it can blend a lot better. So you'll find that your eyeshadow, if that's not something that you've done in the past, give it a go. It definitely helps. So I'm going to start with my transition shade, and I'll probably be mixing the sand and the Caraway together. So at the moment I've just got the sand and I'm just going to pop that in the crease of my eye and sort of work that up onto the eye bone, basically, the eyebrow bone. Alright, so that is the sand colour and that's going to be my transition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I might mix it up and I'll use some clove today. You don't need a lot of product. I found with all of the Arbonne products, really, you don't need a great deal. I'm just going back over that place, but focusing more on the corner of my eye, really. So when you're only using a small amount of product, it means that the things that you're buying are lasting so much longer, which is so important when you're spending money that you may not have spent in the past on new products. So that is something that I found to be a really big selling point for me when moving across the Arbonne, is that I didn't need a lot of product to get really good coverage or something that I felt was really worth the money and worth the changeover. So now that I've got my second colour on, I'm going to go in with just a light colour over the rest of my eyelids. So I'm going to use the Caraway for that. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the clove and maybe just a fraction of the sand, and I'm actually going to just define that crease a little bit more. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to colour just underneath, and I'm going to use the sand and the clove together for that. All right. So now that I've got, I guess what I would call maybe 3/4 of my eye done, I'm going to go in and get a darker color, and I'm going to use the Cypress out of the palette today to do that, and I'm going to use my bigger brush. And I'm just going to pop that in the corner and just give it a lot more depth. And I'm just going to blend some of that back into that crease. That's the difference with using the Cypress. It just gives it, it's subtle, but it gives it a bit more depth. Alrighty, so that's the eyes mostly done. So you'll notice that I didn't actually set under my eyes with my concealer because I was doing my eyeshadow. So I'm just going to go back over with some fresh concealer and I'm just going to pat that back under, and then I'm going to set my eyes. Alrighty, so that's my eyes done. What I will do is I will line the top of my eyelashes, but I will need to do that off camera because I'm just too far away from my mirror. So what I will do now is I will set my under eyes. So I'm just going to use that brush that I've been using to set. And again, using the Arbonne translucent powder. Alrighty, so you'll notice that I will always powder around the creases of my nose and usually into my smile lines, because I like to think that I smile all day, which usually means that no matter what product I use, it will sit in those lines. I jump in with the same palette we used yesterday, which is the Arbonne Starlight Glow palette. And I'm just going to go back over that concealer, the darker concealer I used for my contouring, with the same bronzer I used in the video yesterday. So I always sort of line my jaw, especially if it's an event. I want those nice, I guess, subtle, sharp lines and edges that sort of really just enhance your face, so that you really want to be enhancing those really lovely lines that you've got of your jawline and your nose and your forehead, and you just want to be working with the shape of your face. So I'm going to pick up the same palette that I was just using, and we're going to go in with the highlight. We'll use the Stardust again. I've got a better brush today for my highlight. Alright, so I've just popped it on my cheekbone. Something I usually will do as well is always just make sure that I'm getting the brow bone. And again, I do over my eyebrows, the tip of my nose, the cupid's bow, and I will usually do my chin as well. So that's just helping, again, those high points in your face. I will add my blush at this point too, so I'm going to use the Moonstone. For an evening look or a full glam look, you may want to go with something that has a little bit more colour and is probably not as subtle. This is a really lovely colour. It looks really intense, but it's something that buffs really lovely into the skin. So this one is one of the blushes, and this is in the shade Berry. So again, it does look quite stark on film, but it is really lovely in person. So I might even just do one of my cheeks in that color, and you can see you don't need a lot of product. You can see that was just like a really light tap onto the palette, and that's how much product was picked up. So that gives you a bit of an idea that that was a little bit of product of a really in your face type of color, looking at it on the palette, but it works really lovely into the skin. So I'm actually going to use it on my other cheek. It's amazing how much product comes from like just a small amount. So good. Okay, so I'm just going to line the top of my eyelashes, and then I'm going to do my brows. So I'm just going to use the Cypress color that I used the last time. Again, I'm going to be using that same mascara that I used yesterday, which is the Speak Volumes Mascara by Arbonne. It's funny, you think all mascaras are the same, and they're not, like, at all. Okay, I really love this mascara. And so the final thing I've got to do is my eyebrows and then the setting spray, and we're done. So I'll quickly do my eyebrows. All right. So the only tip I do have when it comes to eyebrows, always go sort of a shade lighter than what you think you actually need. I've got, if you know you're not really confident in doing your makeup, or you know you're still experimenting with makeup. So I'm just going back over with the Arbonne Shape It Up liquid this time. So I'm going to be using the shade in light and medium again, so light. All right, and there you have it. So that is my full glam look. You can see there's not a lot of difference, I guess, in the techniques I would have used yesterday, but just the products. You can see that the finish, sorry, I keep looking off camera. You can see that the finish is flawless. It gave fantastic coverage. I do have some other, I'm going to call them blemishes because I don't like my freckles. But it gives really lovely coverage. It's a subtle medium coverage. Like I said, that you could definitely build up to a full if you wanted to. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you again so much for all of your support. Let me know. I really would love some feedback. So if there's anything you want to say, please feel free to hit me up in some private messages on Facebook or Instagram, because I'm always looking for some critical feedback. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.